Good evening, everybody. This is the last take I'm going to do on this video. I've had phone calls starting to come in again. Why? I don't know. But hopefully they'll get rid of the landlines. I'd be pretty happy about that. But I'm getting on here tonight on my Keeping It Real podcast to talk about Charlie Kirk. A lot of people are celebrating his death tonight. And it may be wrong to you, but it is their right. You know, the guy got shot in front of the entire world at a college campus. Again, I have to ask, where was the security detail? Where was all that security detail? It looked like there was over 1,000 people down there. You have college kids, people coming in from off the street going to see this guy. You know, and he shared some of the same rhetoric as Donald Trump Jr., and anybody else that's in Donald Trump's circle. So Donald Trump better stop blaming the left for what's going on. This is all on you. The day you said that you could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not lose voters says one thing to me. You opened the Pandora's box to the racist, the narcissist, the murderers, the killers. And another day that proves that to me was January 6th. You told people on Twitter before you were suspended, get down to the Capitol. It's going to be wild. Oh, they came down to the Capitol all right. They bum rushed the police there, the Capitol Police. They were beating up on Capitol Police. They spilt blood. One person, Brian Sicknick, gets murdered. And other people get hurt and killed. One of your sycophants, a female, tried to go into the Capitol Rotunda and wound up getting shot by Secret Service. And she died. Her husband begged and pleaded with her not to go to the Capitol. But in her Kool-Aid stupor, she wound up going to the Capitol, and she got shot dead. And your people were walking around, wiping their poop all over the place, breaking up a memorial to Herman Cain, and waiting for Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence to be hung in the gallows. I heard somebody wanted to put a bullet fragment in Nancy Pelosi's brain. In fact, somebody would later break into the Pelosi home and attack the husband. That caused her to step back from her duties. She quit, and other members of the government are slowly losing their minds. Mitch the Bitch McConnell looked like he was having TIAs and strokes and what looks like the beginning stages of dementia, spacing out on camera. And from what I heard over the tributes to 9/11 victims, Donald Trump may have suffered a TIA. So, yeah. But yet, Donald Trump, after he heard about the death of Mr. Kirk, he got on his piece of crap Truth Social and immediately blamed the left for what happened. No, Trump, this is squarely on you. It is all on you. It'll always be on you because you opened the Pandora's box to the racist and the haters and those who want an all-white country. Admit it, you're a flat-out racist. Hulk Hogan admitted he was a racist. He was the one who said, "This is Donald Trump's house." And again, I want to believe more than ever it is the people's house. When Hulk Hogan said this was the people's house, he destroyed his career even further. And after that, his health went downhill pretty quick. If you don't believe me, watch the Randy Rainbow video titled Magadoo. It's a wonderful spin on Xanadu. but he talks about how Donald Trump wants things to be his way. And there is a clip of Hulk Hogan saying, "This is Donald Trump's house." And we all know what happened to old Hulk Hogan, don't we? That motherfucker died. He dead. You know, where was all this anger and outrage when a disabled reporter was mocked? Where was the anger and outrage when the Access Hollywood tape came out? Where was all this anger and outrage when he mocked women for their genitalia? You know, and Charlie Kirk shared some of the same views as Donald Trump. Just like Dean Cain and Scott Baio share some of the same views as Donald Trump. Scott Baio hasn't been relevant for the last 30 years. And Dean Cain has had nothing since Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. And let me tell you, that motherfucker ain't worthy of the Superman outfit. Nope. Because I went toe-to-toe with him. You know, he was talking about things Trump. And I said, well, what do you expect from a guy that played Scott Peterson? And he blocked me. And you know what? I'm glad he blocked me because it shows his true colors. You know, and I think Kirk Cameron is the same way. I think a lot of these so-called religious zealots are the same way. I haven't been in a church for about 20 years. The only thing I've been to in terms of respecting a life was the death of my parents. I have a cousin that is a preacher. He gets it. He knows not to go into a person's space if they don't want to talk about God. He loves me whether I believe in God or not. He and I are cool. We could talk about anything. We could talk about anything, even George Harrison. When Cloud 9 came out, he liked what he heard. He wanted me to make a copy of my audio cassette. But I said, isn't that a sin? He says, I won't tell if you won't tell. And that's when he told me. He says, I go around, I preach the word of God, but I know not to approach somebody and start blabbing about God if they don't want me to. You have your life, you live it the way you want. I might not agree with it, but I still love you nonetheless. You know, and that's when I knew he and I were cool. But I don't go to church for the simple fact that they downed my parents as the reason for my disability. I don't believe that. I never will believe that. You know, I don't go to church because they have such a skewed view of people. People that are truly the man of God will embrace everybody, whether you're disabled, black, white, red, brown, purple, yellow, man, woman, nonconformed, trans, queer, whatever. You know, our country has gone so far down the tubes, we're not coming back from this. You know, now Donald Trump wants to put he wants to put a big target on any leftist back, and he wants us all hurt or dead. He can't see past the end of his nose that he lit this fuse when he was running for office. And he said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not lose any voters. Yet, he did nothing to condone the death of George Floyd. He did nothing but mock a disabled reporter. And he did nothing to condone the people that were being beat down because they were not of American heritage. You know, they were brought down by the color of their skin or whatever nation that they represent. A Chinese woman over in California got beat down. She's lived in California most of her life. Now the woman was afraid to go outside her front door because she got beat down. One lady got beat down going to church, of all places. And Charlie Kirk was doing pretty much the same thing. Spewing hate and doing all this other shit. Especially when you see him shaking hands with Donald Trump and he makes a comment about Taylor Swift having more babies and less houses. That shows me he's in the 1940s and 50s mentality. Men would go out to work. Women would stay home, iron clothes, feed the babies, change their diapers, pop out more kids, blah, 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 blah. And you better have a hot meal when I get home or there's going to be trouble kind of motif. But as for the family, as for the wife and kids, I feel sorry for them because they have to face the blowback. Not just when the kids are babies, okay? They're going to have to face this for the rest of their lives. And many sane adults say, well, maybe the kids will be better off without a dad like what he's showing in public. It's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of thing. You act like a nice guy when you're at home, but when you're out in public, you could say all the things you say, but you wouldn't have the balls to say in front of your own wife. When he talks about crime being out of control, maybe so. But when he started talking about the gangs, it's not just the black thing, okay? All races can get into gangs. It's been known to happen. They don't talk about how out of control some of these rich people are. Look at Justin Bieber. He got away with a lot of shit. Driving cars down the street, speeding, not getting enough time in jail. And many people have gotten shot because they were famous. John Lennon, Christina Grimmie, and whoever else was famous that was gunned down. One actor from a soap opera got gunned down because somebody was stealing something out of his car. So, yeah, it's not just a black thing. But people who spew hate will often get their karma one way or the other. And Charlie Kirk got his. And he was only 31 years old. I don't know how long he was in that type of field. But karma came back and bit him in the ass big time in front of the entire world. When he said that thing about Taylor Swift, that was all I needed to hear. More babies, less houses. He doesn't want women to be productive. He doesn't want them to help out with the house bills or the property taxes or the loan that you got so you could get that house or help pay for car repairs. Like I said, our government needs to cut the bullshit, stop the blame game, and get back to work. Because if you don't, I'm going to use my vote, whether I have to do it at home or in person. I will find a way to get to that voting booth, and I will vote your ass out. I'm getting too old for this. I'm a 54-plus-year-old woman. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing both sides stab each other in the back. Get off the potty or end it. I don't care. I'm tired. Many people say we're not going to come back from this, and I have to agree. We are not coming back from this. Donald Trump is going to blame who he wants to blame, and yet none of the sycophants in the White House or in the House, Senate, and Independent, they aren't going to do a fucking thing. The only thing I could say is if we can hold on, we could vote these people out, but who knows if that's going to help. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Did Charlie Kirk deserve to die? Or did he not? I don't know. Part of me says yes, on the public side, but as a father, no. But I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. People like Midas Touch have spoken very little about it. In fact, the guy that runs part of Ring of Fire, he calls himself Fair and Balanced. He put out a video, I think it was yesterday or today, where he said he was stepping back from Ring of Fire. He has been getting death threats since he's been running his channels. And I feel like, in terms of Fair and Balanced and Ring of Fire, that they lied to us. You know, they were hyping up about how Kamala was going to win the election. And yet, she didn't win. I want to firmly believe she did win, but they claim she didn't win. And now we're in the seventh cycle of hell because of that. And I think it all leads back to Trump. You know, and his sycophants have saturated the political sphere so much, I don't think we'll ever get out of it. And the murder of Charlie Kirk is just the beginning. We're heading down a dark tunnel, ladies and gentlemen. We have to make a decision now. Are we going to put up with Trump's bullshit, or are we going to fight for the Constitution and our democracy? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think on it. I'm getting ready to log off, and I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm going to finish my ice-cold Coca-Cola, and I'm going to go to bed. I had McDonald's tonight. I'm ready to get a good night's sleep and kind of forget about all this shit. Let me know what you think, and I'll be sure to respond to any comments. Do you think democracy is dead? Or do you think we still have a chance to fight for it? I want to know. Good night, everybody. I'm over and I'm out. I'm done.